I am here today with the undisputed star of the Mallory Square Sunset Celebration. That is Will Soto. Now, he might almost be 70 years of age, but he can still walk the tightrope while juggling and bantering with the crowd. Not to mention, Will is one of the co-founders of the Sunset Celebration. That is a must-see for every visitor to the island. Will, it is such a pleasure to be able to sit out here with you at Mallory Square. I have to ask, Will, is it really true that you were hijacked by a friend and that is how you ended up in Key West?
Yeah, it's that's pretty much the truth. A friend and some rum.
Tell me the story, Will.
Well, I was traveling as a sculptor, really, not even performing in those days. And I was working the Coconut Grove show in Miami, and I ran into an old friend of mine, Dennis Blankenheim, also an artist. And after the show, he said, "Hey, you should come down and hang out. We're down in Key West for the winter." And I said, "Nah, I'm going back to New Orleans." And he goes, "Ah, well, let's have a drink anyway, you know." And we did. Excuse me. The next thing I knew, we were in the back of his truck crossing bridges, you know.
I like it. So your friend hijacked you. You ended up in Key West, and Will, soon after you ended up here, you discovered Mallory Square. Tell me about Mallory Square when you found it.
24 hours to find it, and probably less than that. And then I did. I loved it. You know, it was sunset was almost like a sacrament. You know, people came down here to just sit at the water's edge. There was nothing commercial about it at all in those days. It was just people from every social strata sitting around having maybe an adult beverage or something and a smoke and dangling their feet over the edge of the pier and watching the sun go down, you know. And after it went down, everybody sort of congregated in the middle and started, the drummers would start playing and people would dance and skinny dip and get out the limbo stick, and it was one of the great last hippie parties. But it was more than just hippies, it was everyone, fishermen and lawyers and everybody that, we call them sunsetters.
Sunsetters, and you quickly became a sunsetter.
I signed up immediately. This is for me.
And what did you start doing when you first became a sunsetter, Will?
Well, I already juggled as a hobby, and I saw another juggling show come down here. They were called Locomotion Circus, and who are now very good friends of mine, Bounce, Margill. I loved what they were doing, and I already knew how to juggle, so I said, I always wanted to try and perform, but I was, you know, it takes a lot to go out, especially on the street. You're on your own, and you don't know whether they're gonna laugh at you or for you or with you or whatever.
Throw bricks at you.
Yeah, right. So I felt safe here. So I thought, yeah, I'll try to do a show here, and I did, and I never forget it. It was so much fun. I kicked myself. I said, man, I should have been doing this 10 years ago. So this is where I started performing. Within a few years, I kind of grew. My background was in gymnastics, so I graduated to the tight wire and the tightrope. That was 40 years ago. So time flies when you're having a good time.
That is incredible. Will, I mentioned to our viewers earlier that you really are the undisputed star of Mallory Square, and you are also one of the co-founders, you could say, of Mallory Square, or at least one of the guys who kept it alive down here. Well,
we did face some hurdles, political hurdles in the beginning, you know, when it started getting a little bit bigger and a tad more unruly. The city really wanted to shut it down and didn't want to be liable for it. It was pretty spontaneous and freewheeling for them. And I got together with some other folks down here, 7 of us, formed a nonprofit called the Cultural Preservation Society. The rest is history. We have proposed to the city that if you didn't want to be responsible for it, we will be. And we were just the ones that formed the nonprofit. We couldn't have done it without all the support of the businessmen and everybody else, the merchants, the sunsetters, the locals that all came down here. And they gave us a lease. They said, okay, we'll give you a trial lease. It worked, and one lease turned into another to another, and that was 31 years ago, our first lease. It's still going on, so you know, it changes a little bit through the years, but essentially I'm thrilled that it's still here, thriving and happening.
Me too, because I can't imagine Key West without Mallory Square, without the celebration, and I can't imagine Mallory Square celebration without you, Will. Now, you did leave a couple of months ago. You left Key West. Why'd you go?
Well, we haven't got enough time to go through all those, but we just decided to, I had some business opportunities, and we thought, well, if we don't chase our dream now, when will we? I'm going to be 70 next year. So we thought we'd try something different, and we left. It made it about 6 months before we ached for Key West.
Well, I'm glad you're back, and I know so many other people are glad. Speaking of your age, Will, hey, I think you could pass for 50, but you are almost 70. How do you get yourself to do this?
Young wife.
There you go. Good answer.
I mean, I'm sure that this is not unusual, but in my head, I'm still 30, you know.
Might have a couple aches and pains.
I don't bounce as good as I used to, but you know, I'm thrilled and blessed. So thankful to still be able to work as an acrobat and funambulist at you know, 70 years old.
Great. Well, keep doing it, because you do a good job.
Don't ever stop moving.
That's right, Will. Thank you again for sitting down and talking with me. And if you want to catch Will, be sure to make your way down to Mallory Square for Sunset Celebration.